Buff Weeb is someone I've been performing
Yeah.
for the hotel for a night. We got a good deal. What's going on?
In fact, maybe I should call the FBI. I think I might, because I honestly believe what I endured was torture.
How's it going today, everybody? The last time that we spoke about Shanny for Christ, she was having Rev run all over Scranton. She was pretending to have multiple injuries. One time her hip was hurting too bad, and then she was having terrible teeth problems. All which faded away quickly once they started getting a little bit of money, but we'll talk about that more later. After dealing with this for like a couple of weeks, Rev decided that this was no longer the life for him. The man who had done just fine 2 months before, as soon as he gets into a tent with Shanny for Christ, loses his mind and has to go to a mental facility. If you believe what Shanny for Christ is saying. Because just randomly one day, Shanny for Christ appears and she starts telling everybody that Rev has disappeared. With some of the craziest eyes I have ever seen. It definitely appears that Shanny for Christ was on something at the time. She was proclaiming that Rev was no longer around, that he had ran off and she doesn't know where he's at. And because of that, she now needs the support of the audience. Not really to find Rev, that didn't seem to be a major issue. For people who are so codependent, you would think that she would be freaking out, but not really. And almost immediately, Shanny for Christ was called out for this. You could even kind of hear Rev's laugh in the background in one video, but it's just speculatory. We really don't know. People speculate, even myself, that Rev was never gone. He might have spent one night in a mental facility and then got out and they started to try to do their ploy. Because if you don't know, it appears that Shanny for Christ and Rev have become heavily addicted to some kind of substance since they've been on the streets. And because of this, not only have they been begging more because of the situation that they're in, they've also been using it to supposedly feed their addiction. And Shanny and Rev certainly in the past have used this trick many times to bait sympathy from people who aren't really aware of who they truly are and get some donations off of them. But ever since they became homeless and Rev quote-unquote returned from the mental facility, Shanny would have Rev go onto live streams because he was the more liked one and would receive more donations. And Rev would listen, causing a begging live stream that would immediately get turned off as soon as one person sent a donation. And I also gotta say, they mainly did this while sitting in hospital rooms that they most likely certainly didn't need to be in, just wasting the time of everybody.
So literally, yeah, I am here for your help. Because I'm telling you, like, you're literally the only reason that we're eating at this point. The CIC, and some of you guys call the fucking CIC. Like, don't call the CIC. They do a good service for what they're given. They do a great service. It's very tough out here, guys. I'm telling you. The cost of living is not cheap, you know. So we get some money in, but it's like, it's good for the day. So you're going to see me again going, I don't know what the fuck to do. I know it's like, oh, go get a job, I know. And it's like, that's always like a work in progress for me because no one will hire me. You're literally all we got. Because G-Man narked out, that's what I'm going to call it. I don't even want to talk about him. Like, he wanted to control every single aspect of our life now that he was helping us.
After mysteriously returning with little to no acknowledgement on what really went down, Rev and Shanny began hanging out with G-Man. If you don't know who G-Man is, he's a notorious figure in the Shanny for Christ universe. He would hang out with Shanny and join her and Rev with a bunch of other people who would debate topics such as religion and things of that nature. They haven't spoken much to G-Man after Rev gave G-Man a house for $1 and then gave the dollar back to G-Man. And after going homeless, he asked G-Man for some money or a place to live, which G-Man refused, which definitely soured the relationship. It really goes to show that Rev no matter what position he's in life, will give to somebody. And yes, that can be a great thing, but give things that you should never just be willingly parting away with and then expecting somebody to return the favor, which G-Man definitely shown him that is not always the case. This will be a recurring pattern throughout Rev's life, something he'll once again show later on. But for now, all you need to know is, because of the desperate situation that Shanny and Rev are in, he decided to start hanging out with G-Man, and G-Man started using them to profit. Once again, making very subpar videos of hanging out with Rev, maybe a couple shots of Shanny in the tent, really boring content that is of no interest to anybody but G-Man himself and a couple of Shanny's followers. If we was to learn anything from G-Man, it was to see the lifestyle that Shanny and Rev were now living, sitting in a tent, nothing to do, still pretending they're just on the couch talking into a phone. Not much has changed but the scenery and the lifestyle. And when you consider how these two ended up in this situation, it paints a very bleak picture. If you know that Shanny and Rev fought their way into homelessness, if they never broke up and got into such a drag-out fight, they wouldn't be in this situation now. If you want to know more of it, I made a previous Shanny for Christ Lolcow documentary that you can go check out. But back to the matter at hand. As you heard Rev mention, they had a falling out with G-Man because he was trying to use them for content. Now keep in mind, this was only bad because Shanny and Rev weren't profiting very much from it. Only thing G-Man would really give them is a couple of things of candy, maybe some food, and a little bit of money. Maybe. And this would kind of start like a small bidding war between multiple channels who wanted Rev and Shanny on their live streams, mainly from a guy named Hussy and Buff Weeb after G-Man fell through. Hussy was only offering Rev and Shanny around $60 or so. Rev will claim it's 10, Hussy claims it's 60, and I believe he showed proof. But this was quickly outweighed when Buff Weeb offered them a hotel room to stay in as long as they participate in a game show that he's created. And I don't really know if it's a game show, more or less. It's just Shanny and Rev sit in a hotel room, they drag 2 other homeless people in there, and they listen to TTS's. A fairly easy gig. Shanny for Christ and Rev should be used to dealing with controversy and hearing these kind of things, right? Well, as you'll later see, that's certainly not the case. Rev seems to be willing to go through with this, with Shanny a little bit iffy until she hears she can make a lot of money off of it, and she gets to stay in a hotel room, and she says take a shower. You can believe her if you want to on that one.
I have given you nothing but the best grace possible, Hussy. Do you know the most I've ever said about you is that I think you're talented and funny. So could you please tell me why you would f*** over a guy that's literally giving you nothing but good grace and calls you talented and think you're f***ing good at what you do? Huh? I may have a JBL earbud in here, but I can still talk to you and say, why would you treat a guy that's giving you nothing but good grace like an ass like this? I know why. It's because publicly you want to treat me like dog shit because you say I'm a CA or just like the rest of them. So on the level of an entertainer and all that shit, I respect Hussy, but not on professional level. Why? Because I've done the show. I did the show with Hussy, and what I get out of it, $10. Nothing more. Are you kidding me, dude? That's a joke. There's got to be people out there that are serious, and I'll tell you, we finally found one. I will plug now for the rest of my life because he literally, I was ready to go back to a nut ward. I just, this shit, it's really tough for me. What? Jason, stop using the hospital as an escape for homelessness. Yeah, I intend on never doing that again, Firefly Dreams, because you're right about that. I feel bad about that. Why don't you guys get a paper route? What? Okay, cool. Jason, don't you feel you should get a job, support your wife? Yeah, absolutely, and I've done that, and no one will hire me except dog shit job like Burger King, which I would perpetually have been under my uncle.
Well,
I could never pay the bills in that place, ever, with the dog shit salary. Amazon even. They go, no. So I'm stuck having this as a career. Wow. There you go. See, you get it.
As you could just see, fresh off of a bidding war and now under the control of the employment right now of Buff Weeb, Shanny for Christ and Rev seem to be doing alright. Relatively speaking, they seem to be doing alright. Rev seems to be in a chipper mood. Shanny was acting so well that I couldn't even really clip anything in the previous segment about her. Just know that she was seeming okay about it, a little nervous, but okay. And compared to the previous segment that we had just watched, Rev is now proclaiming that he'll never work a regular job, and if he ever has to work in a place like Burger King, well then he'll just be homeless for the rest of his life. A stark contrast when you compare him earlier saying that, well, I'm looking for whatever I can possibly do to get employment. I know guys, it's rough out here and trust me, I'm trying. You can really see just how selfish Shanny and Rev can be when they start getting going in life. It's kind of weird when Rev will give you just about anything, but at the same time can be such a selfish person, because when they think they're doing well, they're bragging, they're telling all their haters they're just going to have to get over it, they'll never come onto their podcast, even though just a few weeks prior they were begging for $100 appearances and no one was giving it to them. They were that desperate. But now, since they got a little bit of change, everything seems to be going just fine. That is until reality sets in. Shanny for Christ and Rev have to experience their first night of TTS's, and this drove Shanny insane. I'm not saying it didn't affect Rev, but it really affected Shanny for Christ. A lot of the emojis they were sending, specifically the well emoji and pig emoji, which in all honesty is probably the least that Shanny would ever receive, especially with all the allegations piled against her, but it really started to eat away at her. She was no longer able to control the narrative, she couldn't outtalk the TTS's, so she just basically shut down, and that allowed Rev to act a little bit insane. One of the homeless dudes they drug in, he was some comedy, I guess. I don't really know why he was there. He was kind of like just a side character in a TV show, or more like an NPC with little to no dialogue. But already in night one, cracks were beginning to show. Huge glaring cracks because Shanny for Christ didn't quite meet the financial needs of Buff Weeb. And as a punishment for this, they were downgrading their hotel room. And understand guys, this is 100% an agreement Shanny agreed to. She was down with this. She knew everything that was going to happen. But when reality started to set in and she had to listen to somebody else, well, she wasn't having that too much. And a stipulation of the show, she didn't earn enough money to stay in a nicer hotel, now they downgrade to a crappy one. And you can already see Shanny for Christ's mood shift. Rev was still begging for laptops from Buff Weeb, so his mood hasn't quite soured yet, but rest assured, that'll come in just a moment.
How did I forgive him? Why? Because he was homeless. And I've already been homeless several times in my life, and I know how hard it is, and I know how vulnerable he can be sometimes. But he made it, man. No, you want to talk to me? Hussy, $200 up front. No questions asked. I don't expect people to take me in. I expect myself to work myself out of this, and I'm going to take every opportunity I can.
We're working.
Yeah, I'm doing what I need to do.
Wow, it's a skinwalker. Check it out.
Oh, that. I've already heard them. That.
Oh my God, it was real.
Oh, that was so.
It was real. Ugh. And then it sounded like a child. It had a sound that sounded like a legitimate child. And then
the whistles.
It had this chittering sound, and then it had like a whistle, and then it sounded like a wolf for a bit. But it wasn't, I'm telling you.
It was a distorted wolf sound.
It was very distorted, and then the voice changed into something that sounded almost human.
Like a child.
But then later, it was a kid. It was what, 4 in the morning, 3:30?
Yeah.
And we heard a child near the tent. That's impossible.
3 witnesses to that.
3 witnesses to it. And 3. Me, Chris, and you. Yeah.
Well, you could, maybe the bear guy?
No. It's us. We know what we heard. And it was goddamn chittering, like they say that the skinwalker. Look at this piece of shit. Look at that.
We had to change hotels.
to some crappy roach motel. And we're currently in an undisclosed location. Had to trek it here to get to the roach motel and get off the roach motel because we gotta wait till 3 on checkout or check-in. Probably the freaking place is gonna be bugged, I figured, because this is some weird reality show we're in, and it may be my paranoia kicking in. The challenge is he gave us exactly the hotel price, so we got nothing, you know. Now we want to save up for, you'll find out in the future. I want to get my license, he wants to get his license, you know. You guys are more on edge than sleeping in the tent. Absolutely.
That'll
Let Rev know I have a lot of contacts with wrestling if he ever wants to do wrestling podcasts. Been involved with the wrestling scene for over 20 years. Matt Mackey. Oh my God, Matt Mackey.
I know the last name Mackey. Do you know Mickey?
Do you know Mackey?
I know Mackey.
How about
I know Mickey Mackey.
a dad named Mackey?
No, are you Mickey's brother?
Mickey's son.
Oh my God, I went to school with your dad. That's insane. He wasn't in my class, he was one below me, I think.
I don't know, maybe it is your Mackey.
Oh my God, he was my worst bully. But then I loved him at the end of school because I got to know him, you know. He had a rough life, Mickey.
Buff Weeb is unwatchable. You hater. You.
That's a hater.
That's not true,
He's
man.
really good at a show,
Buff is
actually.
great at what he does.
He's a good producer guy, without a doubt.
Are we good on water? We have one.
That was the best thing I could do with $4.
He said we're idiots. Well, he can.
Good.
I'm glad he does.
Good.
You shut up and leave Buff Weeb alone, you hater. You have to go through me first.
As you guys have just saw, Shanny and Rev seem to be suffering from some kind of delusions, most likely because of the substances they're now partaking in, and this has caused them to be, well, crazier than normal. Rev has been saying that he's been seeing Jesus-like figures walking around, angels and things of that nature. And not only that, Rev has now adopted a new personality of his that he likes to call Kitty Dooms. And it seems to be a split personality that Rev has conjured up so that he can get away from the traumas of his regular life. You know, the traumas that he brought into his life willingly. Over and over and over again. And with Rev being less mentally stable than he normally is, Shanny is now suffering all by herself. After the night in the Roach Motel, the TTSs never let up. They started earning more money, but the problem was Shanny didn't think she was earning enough money. And she would go on to start claiming that Buff Weeb was taking advantage of her and Rev. Whereas you seen just in the last clip when they was going to the Roach Motel, Shanny for Christ was licking the boot of Buff Weeb. She was still kind of holding on to the thought that she could ride this out, but Shanny was not mentally strong enough. Shanny will constantly proclaim that she is one of the most mentally strong people on the planet. But when things get rough, Shanny completely crumbles. When they were losing the apartment, Shanny absolutely crumbled. When her and Rev were having their breakdown fight, Shanny crumbled. The only time she didn't was when her snacks was in trouble and she lifted a literal car off the train tracks. So in all reality, she was just setting herself up for a drastic downfall.
You know, I haven't vented in a long time. A very, very long time I have not vented. I've been trying to be courteous and nice and kind because I really like being like Jesus, okay? I like following his path. What I don't like is when promises are not kept while I'm catering to other homeless people, like real fucking homeless people, not dirtbags like me and Jason. That's what I have a goddamn problem with. And you know what? I was like, fuck it. I'm gonna go and give them a good night at a nice hotel off my goddamn back. And I brought this stupid lug with me too. No, but there was very much expressed written, or there was written agreement, but there was also a very strong oral agreement between us, too. And I would think that a man of God would have the balls enough to keep his goddamn word. Why is it me that I'm always keeping my goddamn word and I'm treated like the worst? But these guys, they have a good day, because he did pay us, but he didn't pay us our fair share. He promised us things and he did not go through with it. Because torture is not fun. It fucks with your mind. It fucks with your head. Some people are more susceptible to torture before. I don't think Jason's ever taken that much torture in his entire life. And his mind broke. Me, I've been taking nothing but torture my whole life. I knew I could take it. But when Jason started coming after me, that's when my feelings got hurt, because it got personal. I love that man with all my heart and soul. He knows that. He knows I have fucking agape love for him. But man, that was just an amount of cruelty that is not right to do to any person. And it probably should be reported for abuse of a vulnerable adult. Especially when I'm caring for 2 other people. Because that's what we do here on the streets. We take care of each other like we're supposed to, like good humans do. Homeless people take care of each other. What do you guys do? You're not on the streets. You're not on the streets. You tear people down and you pay for it.
One thing you'll notice at the beginning of the segment you had just watched was Shanny saying that she's taking care of 2 homeless people. And, well, she technically is, I'd guess. Most people speculate that a couple of them just have a few substances on hand that Shanny and Rev are willing to partake in every now and then, if you can catch my drift, so they keep them around. So when they got a hotel room from Buff Weeb, they brought in 2 other people along with them. And to help other people, you first must help yourself, something that Shanny and Rev completely forgot about, or just threw out the window, I imagine, because they have nothing. They have 0 money in their bank accounts. They're relying on this Buff Weeb guy to continue supplying them with funds. Well, if you're in that kind of situation where you're hopping hotel room to hotel room, you by no means are able to take care of 2 other grown adults. It sucks to say, but they should be doing things for themselves, not having you 2 take care of them. It's one of the most perplexing things about Rev and Shanny, is they will do things for other people. Every now and then, only when it benefits them though, which is why a lot of people speculate that perhaps one of them might be a dealer of some sort, or has a good connection with one. But either way, I just don't think it's a good idea to drag 2 random strangers into something that's going to be very hectic for you. As you can hear Shanny saying right now, or I guess as you previously heard, she's mentioning that Jason just couldn't take this any longer. He was the one breaking. But what she truly meant by that is it was really getting under her skin, and it caused another huge argument between her and Rev, and I don't know how she didn't suspect that was going to happen. When her and Rev were living in a 2-bedroom house, a 2-story house, her and Rev were able to get away from one another, but still yet was able to run upstairs and have one of the biggest breakout fights we have ever seen on YouTube. One of the most toxic things I have ever witnessed. But still yet, Shanny thought it was going to be a good idea with the camera on them. TTS is calling out all of her previous actions, and her and Rev not going to be able to get away from one another. That was a recipe for disaster. I'm surprised more arguments didn't come out from it, because Rev is insanely insecure, and so is Shanny. You add the trolls into the mixture, and the police are probably getting called that night, and they'd be back out on the streets. But either way, they ended up back on the streets because Shanny's own ego. As you heard her say, she thought she deserved more money. Well, they ended up paying for that and ended up producing one of the strangest live streams I've ever come across. In fact, there's at least over an hour I literally can't show you guys. Everything on that was pure degeneracy, and it was obvious to anybody who has a faint idea about these two that these two were under the influence, on the verge of being back in their tent and losing their mind.
I'm sick of Jason. He's a fucking asshole, piece of shit. You know, always insulting me and treating me like shit and never giving me a time or day and always making me second. I'm on all things. So, I've been kind of getting feelings for someone lately. You know, it happened when Jason ran away, you know. We just ended up getting close in a tent one night. Maybe it's not about, you know, the bond per se, but the fact that we really enjoy each other's company and always have, and we've been very playful together. Like, there was this one time with unicorn and peanut butter. They know what I'm talking about, the unicorn and peanut butter, so yeah, the big reveal. You can come out now and show yourself. I feel so guilty.
Hey baby, how you doing?
Hey honey.
How you feeling?
I'm doing good. That time in the tent was like for...
Oh my, see? I'm so sorry, Jason, you know. Maybe you shouldn't have introduced me to her in the first place at the CIC, because you're a f***ing moron and I take her. You know I eat oysters, Jason. You got a f***y with me. I told everybody about it, you know. I had no money. That loser Jason wasn't getting... He could have f***ing at least been working at f***ing Burger King, the only job he could get. Because he ain't lying to you about that. But he could at least work that f***ing job and bring something in to get some Shanny, some good stuff, you know. He's a f***ing ass, lazy f***ing piece of shit, fake Christian ass.
True. I am very grateful for that, and I want to thank Buff Weebs from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I hope there's plenty of opportunities in the future. Maybe minus the constant harassment, maybe, you know, some actually interesting challenges. But we still need another night. We still have a couple of nights that we can stay and feel a little bit comfortable, but we still need to make it our goal so we can continue to do this. Like, I have a goal of getting our IDs together and put together, and then saving up for an RV, and then RVing around the country, showing you guys the country and stuff.
Before Shanny for Christ and Rev were homeless, they were living in Rev's Uncle Tommy's house. And to get kicked out of there, as I've mentioned before, they had a very toxic meltdown fight that caused them to end up homeless. Now, one of the catalysts of that fight, one of the many catalysts of it, was Rev's new character he was performing in the middle of the night while Shanny was streaming Stardew Valley or sleeping, Kitty Dooms. Kitty Dooms was a character where Rev would put on some cat ears and then start making some odd voices and some very suggestive poses to the camera, start talking very explicit to it, and mention how he's going to do very odd acts on camera to get some money out of it. This was after their fight with Shanny's son William, and many people thought it was a mental breakdown of Rev's. And it's hard to argue when it seems to be getting worse as Rev's mental condition starts getting worse. Because if you don't know, Rev doesn't really want to leave the situation he's in. He thinks what they have going on with Buff Weeb is a good thing, but he also doesn't want to get into another argument with Shanny and lose her as well. So he has to go with what she says, and that's leave this situation alone. So what you had just witnessed was the last couple of nights of Rev and Shanny just getting absolutely blasted and playing pretend on camera for hours on hours. It's really odd because, as I mentioned, one of the main problems with their last fight was this Kitty Dooms character, but now Shanny for Christ is completely willing to go down with it. And part of me believes it's because Shanny realizes Rev is probably going to do this no matter what, and she's not going to earn near as much money without Rev as she would with him. So she just got to listen to this. Or it's possible that Shanny's addiction, she just doesn't mind it anymore, and she's far more concerned with getting the next dollar to fuel whatever habit these two have picked up while they were homeless. Even Shanny's mood is fluctuating heavily. It goes from I hate weeb to licking the boot of weeb to he can call me an idiot, back to I hate him, I think this is torturous, to now it's hey, if you ever want to do this again, door is wide open, I need a hotel room, let's just start doing it on my terms, which obviously nobody is going to agree with. Especially because I decided to wait till now to tell you, the last night of the Roach Motel, Buff Weeb started questioning Shanny heavily on the cancer topic, because if you don't know, Shanny for Christ in the past claimed multiple times that she was sick and suffering from cancer. She used it to beg for donations multiple times. She was doing the boogie before boogie. And just one day randomly, Shanny for Christ just got tired of the lies. She got bored of it. She no longer needed it to grift. So she just said, you know what? It was a scare and it never really happened. You guys just gotta deal with it. I promise you 100%, no doctor proof whatsoever that this is the case. Just trust my word. And as you guys probably know, Shanny is a very unreliable narrator, and her just dropping something as serious as cancer and pretending it's no big deal is a heavy criticism upon her. And because Buff Weeb was bringing attention to it, she had to run away. But trust me guys, when Shanny sobered up the very next morning, her reaction to Buff Weeb wasn't so pleasant, especially when she realized she had to get out of the hotel.
He hasn't paid for the hotel. He hasn't even gotten a hold of us.
I'm pretty sure he did.
I'm not going to go through that series of torture the way I have, because it's really affected me deeply in ways that I don't think I possibly could explain. The money wasn't worth it. The money is f***ing trash. No one did what they said they were going to do with the f***ing money. He led us to believe we were going to get a lot more money. Nah, he's pocketing it all for himself. Another reason why you're a piece of shit, Buff, is you tried to keep pulling this I faked cancer shit. When it was clearly a cancer scare back in that time. Which I tried to explain over and over again, but nah, you gotta go. Oh, what about this clip, and this clip, and this clip, and this clip? You pieces of shit. Wonder why I didn't talk about it. Because why? What's the point of talking about it when people are just using it for drama's sake and drama's sake only? That's why you people are evil. Like, trust me, I hate everyone. I hate all mankind after all of this. That seed of there's good people in the world, it's gone. It's dead. So yeah, maybe I will call the FBI, because I really feel like I was tortured on purpose. I was short-handed. Because we deserve a lot more of what we gone through than crummy $400. A lot more than that. And you can't fucking say he was paying for your hotel. No, we were paying for our fucking hotel. He didn't have to pay anything out of pocket. Everything that happened, we earned by enduring your torture, you piece of shit. And yeah, I might fucking sue. I might fucking put you in fucking jail for this.
Shanny for Christ throughout her life has constantly bit the hand that feeds her. She did it with her mom, she did it with Rev when she spent $700,000 with him, and she's doing it now with Buff Weeb. Shanny for Christ and Rev literally have nothing. But Shanny, because of her own ego, decides that, you know what, I can't do this anymore. The well emojis, the pig emojis, and especially Buff Weeb poking at her about the cancer stuff she was pretending to have, it really got to her, and she just said, you know what? None of it. She put on the delusions that she's super mentally strong. She tried to tell chat that as well, and then she's going back out into the tent. And well, we really know what the tent means. It means Shanny's gonna come up with multiple illnesses, and Rev is just gonna be dumb enough to follow every single order of hers until he loses his mind. All while Shanny sits there and says that she's gonna sue Buffweeb. She has every single right in the book, and I don't think Shanny has a case whatsoever. I mean, not only can Shanny not afford it, but Shanny willingly went there. She signed a contract and she claims that there was other agreements that were oral. There's no documented proof of it, and to be honest with you guys, if there was, you'd think Shanny would record it. So it kind of seems like a lie on her part. That would be something very important you want documentation of, especially when you're in such a situation as she is. She needs every dollar she can get, not only because she's gluttonous and picked up a habit, but because they need a roof over their head. I mean, it's better than not having one than living in the tent, but nope. Because of her ego, Shanny has decided that now this is their best option.
It's highly not okay, the level of hate. It's off the charts, spouting whale emoji, pig emoji, you know? Horrible. Whale emoji. It's fucking degrading. I had a week out of the tent, and it was phenomenal. And if Buff said do it with me and you get a room now, I'd do it. But I wouldn't leave her, so I can't. I would never ask her to do anything like that ever again. Never. But that degrading her like that, I'd never do that again.
No.
A show like that. That's disgusting.
No, that's unethical.
Yes.
And dehumanizing.
You just gotta end the emoji use. You kill emojis, and everything's cool then, I think.
No, I don't think someone should be sitting there and interrogated for hours.
I would do that, though, if it's not going to degrade you.
It's not mentally healthy to interrogate people.
I agree, but it's worth money. I'd do it, because I know my truth and I'll tell my truth. And my truth is the truth. I'm not embellishing on stuff. If I get an offer from someone of, like, doing something like the Buff thing, and it's just me, because I'm not going to put you in that position again, I would do it and come back with all the money. I wouldn't spend any of the money. Just cigarettes and shit, little things, right? And I would come back with like $800. Would you be willing for me to do that for the family, the crew?
I thought I was coming with you.
You can't, no, because you're not going to be the show. They pay for me. Me. I'm not, you're not part of the, you can't go through that again. But I'm saying I would be willing to do it again.
Well, how is it worth it if I'm going to be in a tent while you're in a hotel?
I'm making the money so that I can get you a hotel.
Yeah, I'm not for that.
Oh my God, see? What the fuck am I supposed to do with this? Oh my God, how about Richard, Vampire Boy? Okay, I'm done. I tried to make money for the family. I'm done. For family. I'm calling it the family. Charlie.
Well, how is it worth it for me if I'm in a tent?
It's not.
Still,
it's worth it.
Alone and paranoid.
Oh my God! I don't understand how you don't understand.
Yeah, you don't understand the mental torture that would be.
Fine. Never mind.
The story of Shanny for Christ and Rev is a never-ending downward spiral that both of them partake in, and each are equally responsible for. No matter what situation they find themselves in, it seems that one or the other one manages to screw things up in such a way that it ruins both of their lives, and this situation no doubt is one of those. Not only were they homeless and had nothing to their name, and finally got an opportunity to just get a roof over their head, but because of ego and greed, Shanny for Christ and Rev decided to squander it all, and now they've proven to each and every person who may have wanted to give them money for a live stream that they will do anything in their power to ruin it, not give you the content that you're looking for, or just straight lie on your name. So I can't see things getting any better from here. The only opportunity they really had to earn a lot of money is possibly gone now. Is someone else going to step up? Who knows, but that can be their only hope. But I think that's enough for me today, guys. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, follow all the socials down below, use the new hype feature, comment as well, and I'll catch you guys next time.